This is my WWE Summerslam 2013 pay-per-view review. The pay-per-view was off there a little while ago. As far as my thoughts of the show from WWE, I thought this was a very good show from WWE. I mean, you saw two awesome matches on this show. The match of the night was easily CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar. They stole the show. Awesome match. Probably one of WWE's best matches of the year. And you saw a really entertaining main event with Daniel Bryan and John Cena. And as far as the ending of the pay-per-view with Randy Orton, I think everyone saw that coming. I thought they were going to, do it in a little different way than what they did. Instead of Triple H, hitting the pedigree on Daniel Bryan, I thought they were going to do something with Vince McMahon coming out there and, saying something like, Daniel Bryan, your night's not over, and basically, employing Randy Orton as basically a stooge for the night to, cost Daniel Bryan the title and Orton winning it that way. I thought that's the way they were going to do the cashing in, but as far as Orton cashing in, I mean, that was probably one of the most predictable things of the night, but I think it was handled very, very well, especially the one time when they did it with Orton, looking like that he was just teasing it, he was going to walk back, and then when he did that, that's when Triple H hit the pedigree. Obviously, you knew something was going to happen right there. You knew the pay-per-view wasn't going to just end with Orton teasing it right there, and you saw Triple H stand in the ring, so you knew they were going to do something. And I can't wait to see, Orton and Daniel Bryan, WWE title feud. I think them two will have some awesome and really great matches with each other, so I can't wait to see that. And obviously, with the ending, you would think they would have to do something with Daniel Bryan and Triple H, maybe, at Survivor Series. I can't see it being a Mania match just because it doesn't feel like it would be a Mania match. It feels like something that you would want to do either, at one of the upcoming pay-per-views or maybe wait till Survivor Series to do it. But let me get into my review of the show. On this pay-per-view, had an hour-long pre-show. They did one match on the pre-show, and that was Dean Ambrose versus RVD for the United States title. This was a good match. I didn't like the way it was kind of booked and the way it ended. Didn't end the greatest, in my opinion. The way they did it was, okay, you saw Dean Ambrose and RVD. They were taking on each other. You saw some really good back and forth action for probably, about 6-7 minutes. And then after this, you see the Shield's music. The Shield's music hits. They come out from the crowd. They come out there. Then it goes to, basically a WWE promo. I think it was promoting the upcoming WWE video game. And then after they came out, you saw... After their music hit, then you saw Mark Henry and Big Show before it actually went to that clip. So I thought when they were coming back from the break that we're probably going to be seeing a six-man. We didn't see that. We just saw the match continued with Mark Henry and Big Show and RVD's corner, and you saw obviously the members of the Shield and Dean Ambrose's corner. And then the match looks like it was about to come to the end. RVD hit the 5-star frog splash on Dean Ambrose, looking like he was going to pick up the victory. Then you saw Roman Reigns come in the ring, spears RVD, and the match ends that way via disqualification. Wasn't a bad match, but I thought it would have been better, a clean ending with, Dean Ambrose. Obviously, I'm glad Dean Ambrose retained the title, but I thought they could have done a little better right there. But still, a good match, especially for a pre-show match. It was really good for a pre-show match, about, 2.5 stars. Then the pay-per-view starts. The first match of the pay-per-view was the Ring of Fire match with Kane versus Bray Wyatt. Obviously, with this match, the whole thing was, the fire around the ring, them playing that role in the match, and it served its purpose. It wasn't, an awesome match like anything, but it wasn't intended to be an awesome wrestling match or anything. Served its purpose. Kane, did all his stuff. He hit a few choke slams on Bray Wyatt. Then the Wyatt family come in there, helps Bray Wyatt, and Bray Wyatt picks up the victory. His first pay-per-view match, first victory right here, and after this, they take Kane, basically drag him to the back. They do something after the match where they drag Kane from the back, and that's the last we see of them and Kane for the night. As far as the match, like I said, it wasn't a great wrestling match, but it wasn't intended to be. For what it was at least somewhat entertaining. Decent opener, about 2 and 1/4 stars. Then the next matchup was Cody Rhodes versus Damien Sandow. This was actually built up pretty good. I actually like the stuff they've been doing with Cody Rhodes and Damien Sandow. For the way they've kind of built it up and as much attention they've kind of been getting it as far as, a somewhat mid-card type feud, you would expect it to got a little more time than what it did. It didn't really get too much time. It they both did what they needed to do in the match. Cody Rhodes hits the crossroads, and he actually picks up the victory in this match against Damien Sandow. About 2.5 stars. Decent match. Then the next matchup was Christian versus Alberto Del Rio for the World Heavyweight title. This was a really good match. Wasn't a excellent match, but definitely this was when the show started picking up a bit right here. Was with the World title match with Christian and Alberto Del Rio. Really good back and forth action, entertaining match. Christian did all his stuff. Alberto was great as well. Alberto's really doing a good job as a heel right now. He's hated by the crowd, especially in California. I thought Alberto Del Rio might have got a little more cheered than what he did, but he actually got booed a lot here heavily. Guess the crowd likes Christian, and Alberto Del Rio obviously showcasing that he's doing a pretty good job as a heel right there. And I'm glad they kept the title on Alberto Del Rio. Really good ending right here. They do the whole thing with basically, Christian's injury of him being out for a long time. They kind of played that into ending with his arm, and Alberto Del Rio makes him tap out after he gets him in the cross arm breaker. Really good match. Definitely, this is when the show started picking up a bit. About 3 and 1/4 stars. Really entertaining title match, and that was, like I said, this is when the show somewhat started picking up. Next match was kind of the cool down match because this was in between the world title match, and then the next match was Lesnar and CM Punk. The cool down match was Natalya versus Brie Bella. It was a decent women's match. It wasn't anything spectacular, but it was okay. It was watchable for a Divas match. And I'm glad they're finally starting to do something with Natalya. So it seems like the one thing, them doing that, Total Divas reality show is actually helping out Natalya. So if that show's helping out Natalya, I don't mind it that much. And glad they're starting to somewhat do something with her. And Natalya actually picked up the victory here with putting Brie Bella in the sharpshooter. Brie Bella taps out. Like I said, decent women's match. About 1 and 3/4 stars. It was at least watchable, and it was based more or less just a cool down match. The next matchup was Brock Lesnar versus CM Punk, the no DQ match. This was phenomenal. Definitely match of the night. Probably when it comes to WWE match of the year. Probably match of the year for WWE. I would say this is probably one of the matches from WWE this year that I would say is definitely one of the best things of the year from WWE. Just awesome from the beginning. You saw them brawling at the beginning, Lesnar getting the offense, and then CM Punk getting in, and then just beating the hell out of each other. There was a lot of good counters and reversals here. Just a really good no DQ match. I mean, probably one of the best no DQ matches I've seen from WWE or any company in a long time. It was just like a no holds barred, no DQ match. They just beat the hell out of each other. They did everything to each other. CM Punk hit the go to sleep on Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar hit the F5 on him. They were doing really good stuff submission wise. I like that stuff with CM Punk locking in the triangle choke, which obviously with that right there, I'm sure I'm not the only one, but the one thing, it's way early to talk about WrestleMania next year, but I think one of the things people want to see as far as Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania is Undertaker. So just seeing, CM Punk lock him in the triangle choke, that was like giving me like a little preview of what it would look like, Undertaker and Brock Lesnar if they want to do that next year in Mania. But great match right here. Just loved it. I mean, this match right here probably, it is the one. I mean, even if this was the only good match on the show, it was that good that it sold the show. I just loved it. And Brock Lesnar, picks up the victory after hitting the F5. At the end of it, you saw, CM Punk basically, Paul Heyman getting the comeuppance. You saw CM Punk go after him, put him in the Anaconda Vice. And while he was doing that, you saw a chair in the ring. Lesnar was basically coming to. Lesnar started hitting him with the chair. And then the end of the match comes with Brock Lesnar hitting the F5 to CM Punk onto a chair. So great ending right there, and just love seeing these two. I would love to see Brock Lesnar and CM Punk number 2. That's how good these two did with each other. 4.5 stars, maybe even 4 3/4, because it was that good of a match, a hell of a match, and definitely the one thing on the show that you need to go out your way to see. And then the next match, just like the Natalyn Brie Bella match that took place in between the world title match and Lesnar and Punk, you had another somewhat cool-down match. This was the intergender tag match. This was Dolph Ziggler and Kaitlyn versus AJ and Big E Langston. Wasn't much of a match at all. I mean, they did what they needed to do in it. Natalya and AJ, they worked very well with each other. Dolph Ziggler's great, but goddamn, Big E Langston is terrible in the ring. So he tried his best to maybe make him look okay in the match, but thankfully it didn't go that long. The ending of the match, I thought was fairly good. You saw Kaitlyn, she speared AJ outside the ring. It's looking like within the ring that Big E Langston was getting the upper hand. He knocked down Dolph Ziggler with a big heavy arm clothesline, and then towards the end you saw Ziggler hit the zigzag on Big E Langston. So Dolph Ziggler and Kaitlyn win the match. Decent match. At least watchable. About 2 stars. Did what it was supposed to do after the incredible match before, and then the world title match after. It was meant to just be like a cool-down match, and obviously it served its purpose. Then the next matchup was the main event. This was Daniel Bryan versus CM Punk for the WWE title. Special guest referee Triple H. Obviously, I know a lot of people probably hate Triple H being involved in this match, and God knows what people think of the ending of the show. I don't think many people should despise the ending of the show, just because I think everyone saw the whole Orton cashing in and everything, and Daniel Bryan, at least beat Cena in here, and it's going to be building up to Orton and Daniel Bryan. But as far as my thoughts on John Cena versus Daniel Bryan for the WWE title, really good match. Just in the Brock Lesnar and CM Punk match, that was the brawl of the night. You saw some good submission holds in there, but not CM Punk, but the John Cena and Daniel Bryan match was more or less the somewhat pure wrestling match, even though it was somewhat, elements, a little brawl in it, but more of the pure wrestling match of the night. So this was more of the wrestling match than a brawl, and they just did really good stuff in this match. Loved everything they pulled out with each other. I think this match right here, if John Cena was, fully, healthy, if he wasn't battling an injured arm and an injured neck, I think they might have done a little more in here, because it did seem like they were holding back just a little bit. So I hope we see another, John Cena and Daniel Bryan match. But it was a great match and a great main event. Daniel Bryan picks up the victory, basically does, a running knee to John Cena after doing a ton of stuff. I know probably some people thought the ending basically came out of nowhere. I've seen him, win matches back in his indie days like this, so I've seen him win matches like this before, so it wasn't like out of the blue. It's not like I've never seen him do this before, because I have, but it did somewhat come out of nowhere. It probably would have been better if they would have done something different, maybe a roll up for the roll up, a small package or something. But a really good match with John Cena and Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan picks up the victory there. Then he's celebrating. I was kind of hoping that the show was going to end here, because I obviously knew the predictable ending, even though I didn't hate it, but I knew it was going to be coming. You saw Daniel Bryan, celebrating. Triple H holding up and raising his arm, celebrating, raising his arm after he won the title. And then after this, after a little bit, you hear Randy Orton's music hit. Orton comes out there with the Money in the Bank. Them two were, staring down at each other. Orton was saying, looking like he was going to cash it in. And then this was the part that I thought that was done the best right here, is Orton teased that he wasn't going to cash it in. They teased it like it wasn't going to happen tonight, because it looked like he was walking towards the back. And then while he was walking towards the back, you saw Triple H still in the ring. He pedigrees Daniel Bryan, and then Orton comes in there, cashes in, immediately pins Daniel Bryan, which I thought was much better, that if they would have done this type of, Daniel Bryan gets screwed over ending right here. It's better that they did it with Orton just coming in there, pinning him, not doing an RKO, not doing any move, but just, basically Orton was this desperate to want this title that, he didn't even have to do anything. It was just handed to him. So I like the way they did that, and that's going to be a good job. That's going to work very well, building up to the Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton WWE title feud, and maybe something with Triple H and Daniel Bryan, obviously with the whole idea of Daniel Bryan getting screwed by Triple H. You would think they would have to follow through with that, with them two having a match at some point. We'll just have to wait and see what they do on Raw. But very good pay-per-view from WWE. I would say, you know, definitely a good show. Definitely worth going out your way to check out. I'll probably give it, you know, about an 8 out of 10. Maybe even an 8.25 out of 10. But definitely an 8 out of 10. Great main event. Awesome Brock Lesnar and CM Punk match. You saw a good world title match on here. Some of the undercard was a little lackluster. I'm not going to say that, you know, there was no flaws on the show, but you saw 2 great matches on here. Good world title match. Definitely a show worth going out your way to see. And that's it for my WWE SummerSlam 2013 pay-per-view review. All right, peace.